Good evening, Leroy. How are you doing?
Hello, sir. Happy Halloween Eve. I don't know when they started doing trick-or-treating 2 nights in a row, but I feel gypped.
Is that a thing?
Up here it is. And I feel absolutely gypped about it.
See, I've never had a trick-or-treater here since I've lived here. And I live in a small little neighborhood, but they do a lot of the safe spots
Yeah.
around the area. So they'll go to the fairgrounds and so on. And it was funny because one of my friends was saying, "Oh, maybe I'll bring my son by." So now I'm like, well, do I have to buy candy or do I just have to, okay, well, maybe I'll have my first ever trick-or-treater that comes here. But were you a Halloween guy? Like growing up,
Oh yeah.
big?
Oh yeah. I was the only child, so it was always.
But
The thing is
I wasn't sure if your parents would be against Halloween or anything, or
no, they were fine with it. They were fine with it. I always remember, for whatever reason, I always wanted to be a pirate, so I was always a pirate for every Halloween, and the costumes would become more and more lavish, every single year. Remember one year, mom spackled black paint for a beard, all over, and I had a big hoop earring and a big red bandana. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Yeah.
Was that
yeah?
What, last year?
Yeah. Well, yeah, last year.
No,
I might have to take a break between the podcasts. I'm going to get tired. in the middle of the podcast, so I might have to step out for a couple plays.
Okay, now I know what you're.
And then come back in.
So I guess your all-time favorite costume was pirate.
Yeah, that was. I love that. I had a whole scimitar sword and everything. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I had some decent ones throughout the years as well. I'd have to really sit down and think about what we're doing. Hey, I'll cheers you there too. This is cheers.
Tonight I went as a blind ref, and everybody laughed. Thought it was great.
You hear that? Hear that? Oh, where are you? Oh, there he goes. He's leaving. Oh no. Oh, it's the cat. The cat wanted out. No, I mean, Halloween for me growing up was one. We always enjoyed it, but I'm not sure it was necessarily a top tier holiday. And now it's one of those that it's like, oh, it's Halloween. And I know that part of that is that I don't have kids.
Well,
and I'm not around
this year.
But I guess you're now getting closer. You're getting closer and closer to where your kids have aged out.
Yeah, the Halloween costumes were in the car this year so that the girls didn't get into them. But we didn't do pumpkins this year. We didn't put out any decorations this year. It was just one of those things. We left the cobwebs up, so.
Was that for celebrating or?
Celebrating lazy? 50-50.
Coming up on the show today, though, we'll recap the pick contest here in just a moment. High school football. Leroy was off last week. I was not. Leroy, I called what happened. Did I not?
You did.
So I don't know if you saw the final score from Grayson County's game, but I have to pat myself on the back that I absolutely called what had happened. We'll talk a little World Series. We'll talk some NFL. Some quarterback news happened. Someone's favorite quarterback is no longer the quarterback, despite someone saying that quarterback was really, really good. I'm not naming any names, Leroy. John, sorry. Something in my throat there. It's just, this time of year, the temperature changes. It's just, I got a little something in my throat there. Sorry about that. Tidbits, logos, play clock, drivers, and so on.
We do have drivers tonight. Yeah, we haven't had drivers in a while. We do have a special edition of drivers tonight. And I apologize ahead of time because Sam's going to absolutely hate today's drivers.
Oh, great. Pick contest from last week. Grayson County against Breckenridge County. We'll talk more about that here in just a moment. But America and Leroy both got a point there for picking the Cougs. They won by a little bit. We'll talk about that. Kentucky against Auburn. We all went with Auburn. We got the point there. We all went with Iowa. We got the point there. At least Iowa did win, right?
So the halftime score, Sam, was 9-5. I don't know if you saw. Okay. The halftime score of the game was 9-5. And it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, Big Ten West football. Iowa then pulled their quarterback. And in at quarterback was former Northwestern quarterback Brendan Sullivan. and Sullivan torched Northwestern. The final score was 40 to 14 or something like that. It was not close.
Interesting. I had not seen that. Technically, I've not given us a point yet because and I felt like this is not updated in a while. I just refreshed. I was like, I was just watching. Okay. The stat sheet is struggling because the Western game is no longer at this point. They must be having issues because I was like, wasn't I just watching it? And it was the fourth quarter, and this says 8 minutes left. Western's winning, Leroy. I'm just going to go ahead and give us the point. They're up 24-7, so we all are going to get a point there. America got the point for picking the Eagles. Leroy, you got the point for picking the Commanders, so it wasn't all bad when it happened. We all got a point for Kansas State. We all got a point for Fresno State against San Jose State. I got the point for picking the 49ers, and I got the point for picking Notre Dame against Navy. Leroy and America both picked Navy in that matchup. So the final tally from last week, it was a three-way tie. All three of us at 7 points from a week ago. I guess you could say that I had the win, though, because I had one less opportunity to get points because there was no Taylorville game for me to predict.
Still a pretty good week for all of us.
It was. So the overall standings, 55 for myself. Leroy, you're at 47, and America right behind you at 46. So we will have our pick contest for this week a little bit later on, but we mentioned the Grayson County game, Leroy, and the Cougs kicked some absolute ass. Final score 70-20 was the final score. Grayson County beat Breckenridge County. I told you, I'm not sure if it was on air or off air, that I had to look up the stat of most points scored in a game because I expected it to happen that day.
Yep.
And it did. It did. And can Leroy even see the camera? Oh, ha ha ha, because you're the blind ref. Wow, Bert's got jokes. He is hilarious here tonight. But Grayson won 70-20. It was just an overall butt kicking. And they had
yes, he can.
They had a 94-yard jet sweep for a touchdown. Best part is that the kid that scored the touchdown, his name is Jet. So Jet scored on a jet sweep. So it was really cool. And then they
didn't do a screen pass on 4th and 1.
Listen, Paul, do you want the link? Bert, you want the link? John, do you want the link? I'll bring them on. Be nice. Be nice. At least our DB doesn't celebrate when there's 5 seconds left and there's no time and celebrate yelling at the fans, okay? But Grayson won, so it was good for them. They will have listen, Leroy, you've got yourself some work cut out for picking this week's game. For Grayson County and Hancock County, we'll talk a little bit later. Yeah, Justin, way too soon. Way too soon on that.
I'm a bitter, salty man this week.
Yes, I can tell. I can tell. You're very bitter. So let's just go ahead and talk about the NFL. You know what? We don't even need to talk about the Bengals. Yes, we know. They lost. Great. It's fantastic. They can't win at home. The White Helmets finally lose. Blah, 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 blah. I did not get to watch the Bears and the Commanders game because I was driving home from the Bengals and the Eagles game. But I pull in and I saw some messages come through. Oh, my goodness. They won on a Hail Mary. And I was like, oh, wow. That's impressive. And then I saw the video and I was like, oh, wow, that's a really good play. And then I saw the other video of, I don't even remember what your homeboy's name is.
Tyreek Stevenson.
How mad are you at him? And if you've not seen the video, happens is he's yelling at the crowd as the play begins. And his job is to guard the tip guy. And
I have a lot of frustrations with this game. I really do. And we can talk about, the Bears played flat 3 quarters coming out of a bye week. And last year, the Bears came out of bye week and just absolutely crapped the bed against Green Bay. And you can say it's Green Bay. You can say whatever you want. The Bears didn't play. I'm not even responding to that because Paul doesn't know what he's talking about at all. Caleb had a crap game, but the entire offense did. And again, you're not going to sidetrack me, darn it. The Bears were unprepared coming out of a bye week. This is the second year in a row now the Bears have been unprepared coming out of a bye week and looking flat. They were flat for 3 quarters. Their defense kept them in the game and kept the Commanders to 12 points when the Commanders are averaging 31 points a game. So once again, the defense has been shining when the offense really hasn't been playing well. 4th quarter comes around. All of a sudden, Caleb Williams decides he wants to play football, shows up. Bears play great in the 4th quarter. You suck, Paul. And
Gosh, you are salty tonight.
But again, the coaching decisions in this game and all season have just absolutely baffled me. Challenging plays on plays that even I can see that they're not, or the challenge will fail. Seeing it with my eyes that the challenge will fail. Having 3 timeouts and not calling a single one to challenge a catch that was made a couple plays prior to the touchdown, or to set up your defense before a Hail Mary, or not even caring about 12 seconds left on the clock and giving them a free 15-yard play to get them into Hail Mary territory. Then on top of all of that, on top of everything, zero accountability from the coach. Do you know what I love about Campbell? When Campbell messes up, he's the first one to say, listen, this was on me. I messed this up. Eberflus blamed the defense. Eberflus blamed the offense for not playing well. Eberflus blamed everyone but himself. And then when he wants to talk about accountability and say, well, we need to have in-team meetings about this, and we need to get to the bottom. Don't worry, my guys will be ready. Bullshit. We've heard this all before. We've heard all of this multiple times. And I'm so tired of Bert, you're a Packers fan and a Lions fan. Your opinion is absolutely null and void. You don't even matter.
Hey.
But again,
okay.
the lack of accountability for your players.
Okay.
The lack of caring. The lack of, you are the coach, make a decision. The lack of getting on anybody.
Should something happen to that DB? Or has something happened to him?
Now, listen, Tyreek had a great game up until that last play. He saved 2 touchdowns that were easily touchdowns. He had a great game up until that last play. Now, I don't necessarily think anything should happen to him. The court of public opinion is pretty strong on this. And that play will exist 20 years from now. We will see that play.
So you're saying embarrassment is the punishment?
Correct. However, that's it. He better be hustling on every single play this week against Arizona. I'm telling you, I don't want to hear the name Tyreek Stevenson ever again unless it's
something good.
Breaking up but I am so tired of Eberflus looking like he's in over his head and making stupid bonehead coaching decisions. No way you should have all 3 timeouts, Sam, when there's a minute left and you're down by 3.
Here's one thing that I will say too. And this is an issue that I've had, and this is not me trying to slam Caleb Williams to be a jerk to you. One of the things I didn't necessarily like, and at least it's the video that I saw, and it might have been cut before I did, but when they lost, he immediately walked off the field. And is that what happened? And did not go and shake Jaden Daniels' hand?
He did. He did go over and shake Daniels' hand. Okay,
good.
But Daniels kind of blew him off.
Well, okay, and I mean, listen, and I'm okay because like you're celebrating, but you at least have to, because that has been my issue.
Yes, Caleb went over there. Caleb did go over there, and people were accusing Caleb of having a temper tantrum on the sideline. Well, what is he supposed to do? I promise you, there were Bears fans that were watching at home that had way worse reactions than anything Caleb did on the sideline.
Because there have been that has been one of my biggest issues with Lamar Jackson. Is there have been times where Lamar, when he loses, just walks off the field and doesn't shake the other person's hand. And my philosophy is if you can play the game, you got to be man enough to go and shake the other guy's hand.
Yep.
And listen, you can hate the dude and just good game. That you don't need to dap him up. You don't need to jersey swap. You don't need to talk to him. Good game.
And I'll send you the video, Sam. I have it. They did.
Because the video I saw had him walking off the field, it appeared. Yeah. And that's where I was like, okay, I want to do at least double check.
I promise
okay.
you. They went over and
I trust you.
They went over and fist bumped each other.
Okay, we got to talk about the other big quarterback news from the week. Came out yesterday, Monday, I don't remember what day it was, that Joe Flacco is going to be starting in place of Anthony Richardson. And you know me, Leroy, I've been on since literally the first show we ever did was before the draft last season. And I said that I thought Anthony Richardson was going to be a waste of pick. Now, we don't need to remember what I said about Will Levis. That's listen, we don't need to talk about that. But I just felt like the Colts drafting him with the number 4 overall pick was a ginormous mistake. Is he a great athlete? Absolutely. Does he have some potential? Sure. But he'd never done it. And I don't think you could draft a guy with the number 4 overall pick because he might have it. And right now, it came out on Sunday. He checks out of a play because he was tired.
My coworker said it best. I think we're drafting players based off of potential and not what they've done in school.
And I mean, I know you were making the point you said to me before we started here is it's like, have we stopped developing quarterbacks?
Quarterbacks don't sit anymore.
And here's my thing: is a quarterback now has 2 years in the NFL.
Yep.
Where they have to, pardon my French, shit or get off the pot.
But that model's not working, Sam.
Is it?
How many successful quarterbacks? Burrow?
Because here's the thing. Because what you're realizing is, and I've talked about this a lot over the years, is in the last 20 years in the Super Bowl, how many non-elite quarterbacks have won the Super Bowl? You can say, okay, Nick Foles did it a couple of years ago with the Eagles, but he was also playing. Okay, that's been longer than 20 years ago. Might make you feel old. And then you can say, okay, Joe Flacco, was he elite back when the Ravens won it in whatever year that was, 11, 12, something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. But every other year, it has taken an elite quarterback to win the Super Bowl. So I think you have to ask yourself as a franchise that before you give that big deal, is this quarterback elite? Because, I mean, let's be real, Leroy. At the end of next season, we are going to have this discussion about Caleb Williams. And the Bears will have to make a decision then, like they did with Justin Fields, of is he the future of the Chicago Bears? Is he worth a big contract? Can he lead us to the Super Bowl? And the Bears' answer to that question then was, no, we have a great opportunity to take maybe a guy who could be. But also the biggest pro to starting Caleb Williams was restarted that rookie quarterback contract.
Yep.
Which is huge.
But my biggest frustration with this is the Bears are on an off cycle. And they've been on an off cycle now for, I want to say since Cutler was in quarterback. New coach, quarterback that's been there for a year. Quarterback's been there for a year, okay? Coach gets fired, new coach gets hired, new system, quarterback learns new system, okay? Quarterback can't adapt to new system, quarterback gets let go, new quarterback comes in, coach gets fired. And it's never, Eberflus should have never been retained this year because you bring in you bring in Ben Johnson or you bring in Kingsbury, you bring in somebody brand new the same time you bring in a brand new quarterback and you say, look, both y'all figure it out together. Because now you've got a new quarterback who's trying to figure out a system from a coach who most likely will be gone after this year. And guess what? You start that cycle all over again. Jaden's the better quarterback. And we know this, right? At least at this point. After 7 games, and we can argue for the rest of their careers who will be better, but right now Jaden has the lead after, again, 7 games. But you are not seeing, I mean, just the stupidity of these cycles of flip-flopping, and everybody's got to learn off of each other, off the ladder, that it becomes a point where it's almost stupid because – and that's how you got into the Mitch for 2 years, Justin for 2 years, Caleb for 2 years, right? It's It's also, you've also had a coach that's been 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. It's stupid. Either get rid of everybody or don't get rid of anybody. But this whole keeping a head coach because he's a good defensive coordinator, I'm tired. I'm tired of these good defensive coordinators. And I'm not saying that the Bears defense has been fantastic. They haven't given up more than 21 points since they played the Lions back in 2023. But the Bears haven't won a road game on a Sunday since forever. And it's irritating. It's irritating of this stupid flip-flop cycle of, and again, it goes back to we can't have a quarterback sit behind an established quarterback. Now, I'm not saying the Bears have ever had an established quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. But look at some of these other teams. Bryce Young. Who did Bryce get to learn from?
Bryce Young also just wasn't a good pick.
Right. But other than CJ Stroud, these quarterbacks have not had good people to learn from. And I'm not saying they need to do a Jordan Love where they sit for Jordan sat for 6 or 5 years? It felt like 5 years.
Here's the biggest thing, though, is that they can't afford to do that because you're jumping into that rookie contract. And that rookie contract is when you are trying to decide whether this quarterback is worth it or not. Like the Packers, they took the risk. They had 1 year of Jordan Love, and they had to immediately make the decision, is Jordan Love good or is he not? The Falcons are going to run into this same problem with Michael Penix.
Yeah. So they want to stick with Cousins. Penix will be 34 by the time Cousins is done.
I don't know that he'll be that old. No, I mean,
go look at Cousins' contract.
I don't think his contract is that old. Let's see what it is. I'm going to have to look. 4-year contract, because he's not, I mean, Penix isn't already 30.
29.
Penix is younger than me. Yeah, Penix is 24.
I don't know what I saw then today.
Okay. It's okay. I was like, wait a second.
I saw it on the internet. It must have been true, Gormley.
It's okay. It's okay. We've all done that before. Yeah, but I think it's just all about that rookie contract, and teams have that window where they have to win because it only gets harder. You look at the Bengals. They had their chance when Joe Burrow had the rookie contract, and it's only going to get harder now.
But is this a winnable model? Is this a winnable model? Because it's not.
I mean, I think it is because you're trying to make your decision on whether this is your dude or not, because you have to have a dude to win in the NFL. I mean, you look at it at the end. Who are the teams that are always there at the end right now? The Chiefs.
So that works for Brock Purdy?
The Chiefs.
Because Brock Purdy took the...
That might be one exception. But, I mean, you look at the championship games these past couple of years. Jared Goff is probably playing himself into, if we're being honest, into being a dude. He was still the number 1 overall pick. Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow. Who was the, I guess you would have had...
Josh Allen?
Josh Allen, yeah. He would be in that conversation as well. You know, you have to have an elite quarterback to win.
Mahomes got to sit. Allen got to sit.
Allen was immediate starter. I'm almost positive.
Well, Mahomes definitely got to sit.
And it is just, yeah, I mean, Penix is old. He's just not that old. But I don't know. I think that, you know, you have to have a quarterback in the NFL.
The model has worked for you guys. The model has worked for you guys, but for a lot of teams, either they are not, either these quarterbacks just aren't as good as they used to be, which goes back to what we talked about last week, or they're not training them well. Because we are seeing way more guys that are getting benched than huge athletes that are taking off and running their team.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't. I mean, it's not going to change. I don't think it will.
And I'm not saying it should change, but it definitely feels like we are seeing a lot of these guys, especially a lot of these new young quarterbacks, that aren't making it.
Because they have to make, I mean, like, we're going to have this conversation in 1 year. Set a reminder. when we have this show on October, whatever it is, we are going to have the discussion of, is Caleb Williams the answer for the Bears? Just like the Colts are going to have to start having that conversation this coming offseason about Anthony Richardson.
And the thing is and I know everyone's going to laugh and make fun of what I have to say, but off of the last 7 games, he's been better than every quarterback we've had since Jay Cutler.
And I'm not saying this. Is that good enough?
Again, is that enough to win? Is that enough to keep him?
And that's the decision you've got a year to figure out. See, the Bengals were lucky. Year 1, Burrow gets hurt. Year 2, he goes to the Super Bowl. Okay, easy. Done. It's an easy decision. Trevor Lawrence.
Then you give a big contract to a guy like Dak Prescott, who all of a sudden can't figure out how to throw a football.
Well, that was a mistake to begin with. But that's the thing. You've got to pay the right guy, because if you don't, you're screwed, like the Cowboys might be, or like the mistake by the Lake is. And that's, a different situation. But if you pay the wrong guy, you're screwed. And the mistake by the Lake is realizing that when their fans were giving a standing ovation after their quarterback tore his Achilles. And that is just the fact of it, I think, at least. World Series as well. Leroy's going on. Yankees up 6-5 now, bottom of the 6th.
Yes.
How much have you watched?
None. I watched the Freddie Freeman is a god home runs. Boy, I don't know why anybody's pitching. The only one that can strike him out is Anthony Rizzo. But no, he's just been, I don't know why Boone keeps pitching to him.
So
at some point, you just got to be like, we'll take the walk.
On Friday night, I got back from the Grayson County football game. And it's funny because I got home. I think I saw that the Yankees were winning. I think I checked that. But I came into my house, brought in some of my equipment, set it down, turned on the TV, turned on the channel, and it was hilarious because as I turned it on, he's rounding second base. And I was like, well, shoot. It's like I was 15 seconds too late for watching it.
No, it's one of those things where did you watch the whole incident yesterday with the Mookie Betts catch?
No, we got to talk about that. Yeah.
Now, we laugh and we make fun of these guys, but Major League Baseball is going to end up putting netting all around the whole.
I mean, those guys.
Stupid. This is stupid.
Those guys should be banned for more than just tonight.
Yeah, the only reason that they were banned for this game tonight was because of all of the public. The Yankees weren't going to do anything, but there was so much public pressure for them to, and they ended up. I think I saw that they ended up giving them to a
pediatric cancer kid or something.
Yeah, but again, it shouldn't have come down to that.
I don't like that there was a group of, and it was Yankees fans and even just fans in general that were like, yes, they're actually showing some fight. Like, here's the thing. What would have happened if Mookie Betts would have gotten hurt on that play?
Yeah.
What would happen if the dude broke his wrist?
Yeah. Showing fight? Why do I want my fans showing fight? The players weren't showing fight. They did not give him a lifetime ban for it. And Paul, the Dodgers have done plenty of stupid things too.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that those guys were right or wrong, but let's not act like this is just Yankees fans. Have you ever been to a Phillies game?
Here's the thing, too, is like what when people talk about playoffs and fans, one name comes to mind. But what he did was nowhere near as egregious as this.
No.
And I'm talking about Bartman. But nowhere near as egregious.
Bartman was an innocent mistake. It really was.
Yeah. Any fan would have done that. Not any fan would have done what happened there.
This guy reached into Mookie's glove and tried to pry his glove apart to grab the ball out. At that point, that doesn't become an accident. That becomes a, you know what? I'm a dick. Give me the ball. That's what that becomes. That's not a my bad accident, wrong place, wrong time. That's more, and we've seen this, right? We've seen in baseball the overzealous fan that kind of reaches a little bit too far over. Mookie had that ball. Mookie had that ball.
And I'm glad the umpire was there.
Glove to pull it out. That's the problem that I have. He was looking for that. That wasn't an accident. That was I'm going to take Mookie out. I'm going to take Mookie out of this play.
Yeah. It was a clown move.
Yes.
Clown move.
And baseball needs to figure out a way to address this. And I know this is a one-time, one incident type deal, and not all fans are like that. But we sit there, we talk about protection from players and guys that maybe streak on the field and things like that. But we talk about player safety, and I just baseball needs to be a little bit more vocal about stuff like this. No, they interviewed the guy. They did all kinds of stuff. Stop giving him fame.
Exactly, because that's just going to make more people want to do it, kind of thing.
Yes. This is not keeping players safe, Sam.
Not at all.
This is not sending a message that says, hey, you have a right to be at the game. You don't have you have a privilege to be at the game. You don't have a right.
Exactly.
It doesn't send that message at all. And baseball, MLB's silence on this is really staggering. Because guess what? We can talk about guys on second, and we can talk about automatic strike zones, and we can talk about all this other stuff, and that's completely fine. But we can't talk about player safety. We don't want to talk about that.
We don't need you to get you on Ghost Runners. We don't need you to get you all fired up based on that. We don't need you to do that. Do you have any tidbits?
That's a stupid rule, too. All right.
Yeah, what did I say? We're not getting on that. You've already been grouchy enough. We don't need to make you grouchier. Do you have any tidbits that you want to drop?
Yeah, Derek Carr makes his return this week. He says, I'm not a savior. Stop acting like I'm a savior. Now watch him go be a savior. Can the Chiefs go undefeated the rest of the year? They've got games against the Bucks, Broncos, Bills, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, and Broncos. And if they can't go undefeated, what losses are you seeing in those games?
Yeah, they will not go undefeated. Somebody will beat them.
Right? Bills, Browns beat the Ravens.
Yeah, not the Browns. Not the Browns. Not the Browns. Somebody will beat them. Yeah, somebody will beat them. It's so hard to go undefeated in the NFL these days.
All right. Let's see what else we got. NFL trade deadline is coming up. I want to ask your opinion, Sam, on the NFL trade deadline. Is this, we talk about the MLB trade deadline and how a lot of times one player can really make a difference as far as these trade deadlines go. We talk about MLB and, heck, the Tigers sold and they made it to the playoffs. So, but is the NFL trade deadline a big deal, and has it helped teams make it in the playoffs where maybe it wouldn't have historically?
Yeah, I mean, you think back to a couple of years ago where a team made a trade for a Not ready. I'm not ready. Nope. Not ready to talk about it. Not ready to talk about it. Not ready to talk about it. Nope. Next topic.
I was close, Paul. Paul, I had him. I had him. We were right there.
Next topic. I'm not ready to talk about it. Not ready to talk about it. Too soon. Next topic.
Tua got a LOL standing ovation for actually sliding on a play. Will Venable will be the new manager of the White Sox. We want to talk about horrible jobs. How do you sell the manager position for the White Sox? Like what do you have to tell, when you're interviewing coaches and be like, hey, I've got this job. The team might not be there in 3 years, but hey. Because how do you sell that?
Is this the fewest manager openings too? When's the last time we only had 2? Because it was just Reds and White Sox, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Marlins. I guess Marlins.
Yeah.
Have the Marlins made a hire yet?
No. Not that they were talking to that girl, right? Weren't they talking to that chick?
The woman. You're not allowed to say chick. Okay, that is. Guardians bench coach is among the finalists.
Okay.
Craig Albernaz. I know you're a big Craig Albernaz guy.
Yeah, yes, extreme.
Paul will be the manager of the White Sox.
Paul, how much would you ask for salary to be the White Sox manager? Knowing like what managers make, what would you ask for?
I'd do it for $100K.
I mean, I can't imagine that. We talk about. You know how they say managers only responsible for like plus or minus 6 wins? Yeah. Leroy is definitely more responsible for more than just 6 wins. I'll tell you that much right now.
We've seen your coaching strategies.
Oh, come on. Baseball is different than the basketball. Stop it. Exhibition college basketball is starting up some of these games playing against, these first games, but college basketball right around the corner. And
that must be nice, Paul.
Hey.
That must be nice, Paul. That must be nice.
Let's talk about broadcaster salaries. Good grief.
Paul, you make more than Leroy and I combined. And I'm not wrong.
But no, basketball right around the corner, and it's always funny the big overreacts that you get. I think I saw Northwestern's playing Lewis, which Lewis is like UIS, like UIS plays Lewis. So I always laugh at these like basketball matchups that wouldn't. You could never do that. You could never do that on the football level.
Kentucky last night played Minnesota State Mankato.
Cool. I love the Mavericks,
who won the D2 national championship last year.
Yeah. How bad you guys crush them?
31. I think.
Okay.
So I don't know that I told you this, Leroy. I may have brought it up on the show, but so UK basketball season tickets are a huge thing. So they have a lottery every single year, and we won. Yeah. So because my dad has always said, man, his house payment is $2,000 a month. Wow, Paul. My dad has always said that that's what he wants. Like he would love to get UK basketball season tickets. And I remember that we didn't have a morning show that day for whatever reason. I don't remember why, but I got a phone call from Lexington number. I'm like, hello? Hey, you've won the season ticket lottery. And I was like, well, shoot. So I call my dad up immediately. And I'm like, hey, you won it? And he's like, yep, here's my credit card. It was just funny. It was like, do you want a payment plan? Nope. Just
here. Just the money right up.
Down.
Right up.
So he's been to the first 2 exhibitions, and their first game is Monday. That I'm gonna.
He's got to be tickled pink.
He is. He's really excited.
Because I know how big your dad is, how big of a UK fan your dad is.
Loves UK basketball, and I'm excited to get to go to more games as well this year. Because I told him, I said, cool. Okay, I won the lottery technically. Like my name is technically on the tickets because of that. So I said I get the UK Arkansas game this year, which is when Calipari, because that's when Calipari makes his return to Rupp. And then I also said I would also like it when Western comes to Rupp. Which okay, I think I have to ask, UK shirt, Western hat, or opposite?
Yes, UK shirt, Western hat.
Okay, because that's what I think I'm doing. I've entered the Masters lottery every year for 10 years, Paul. Never won. Well,
we were trying to get the Derrick Rose night is January. I forget, January 4th or it's some night in January when the Bulls play the Knicks. And we were looking at tickets, and tickets for the game before that is like $48 for the nosebleeds. Tickets for the Derrick Rose game is like $275 for a nosebleed. And I was like, I will watch you on TV, which I won't because the Bulls are on the weird network and we don't get that. So
were those all your tidbits?
That's it. That's it.
You ready for some logos here? It's time for Leroy's logos. Last week, Leroy, it was a tough week for you. Tough week.
Yeah, because I won the week before, and you were like, "Oh, can't have that again."
0 out of 4 last week.
All Tigers for 4 logos of Tigers, man.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, Justin is a Western alum as well. So he says UK shirt, Western hat. You can take the hat off when Western gets embarrassed. Because I feel like, and I told my dad, and I don't think there's anything wrong with wearing both for that. Nothing wrong at all.
The nice thing about basketball, though, is you don't get too many of those really big embarrassments. Like football, you can get crushed, 49-10, things like that. It doesn't happen that often in basketball.
It's AI logo edition continuing here. I've asked AI to recreate the logos. Leroy, you get one sheet where I will show you the guesses from the comments section. Would you like 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
3. I'm going to be a nice guy on this one and tell you this is not a Power 5 school.
Okay.
Not a Power 5 school. How are you feeling?
Horrible. Because
how are you feeling about this logo?
My first thought was Memphis. Wait, not Memphis. Who are the Red Hawks? Hold on.
What's Memphis' nickname, Leroy?
Shut up.
Go Grizzlies!
Dude, the Bulls embarrassed the Grizzlies, and I promptly sent a message to him. Like day after. I was like, is this good? Asking for a friend.
This one's the hardest one for you today. I will say that. Got any guesses?
No.
This is right up the road from you. Illinois State.
No.
Illinois State. The Redbirds of Illinois State.
My coworker went to school at Illinois State. He'll be mad at me.
Illinois State. Illinois State. Is this one 1, 2, or 4?
1.
1. Number 1. AI logos. I love that AI still is yet to figure out eyes. Still can't figure it out. What are you thinking? You know this one?
Looks really familiar. Let me ask the audience.
Okay. Asking the audience is Leroy. John says it's UK. Which I think, yeah, that doesn't look like a Wildcat. Justin says it's Xavier.
That sounds about right.
Leroy, what is your guess, though?
Does Paul not have a guess?
He does not, at least yet.
Where's Handy Dandy Reeves at, man?
Would he help you?
He usually helps for logos.
Okay.
I'll go. I like that answer. Xavier. That sounds good.
Xavier is his guess, and you're locking that in with your final answer?
Yes, sir.
Looks like you need to buy Justin a Coke. That is
do.
Correct.
Hey,
that
Justin.
is correct. Xavier is the correct answer. 2 or 4?
4.
2 or 4? Paul did write in at the last second with that. I don't know. 4, says Leroy.
Oh,
Number
maybe?
4.
Maybe?
Your immediate confidence is never always
never a good thing.
It's never a good sign. It's never a good sign. It's never a good sign. What is your immediate confidence saying?
My immediate confidence is saying to Paul.
Oh, okay. Now you don't have another cheat.
I know.
Which means that you have to either go with your gut or...
I like this logo, by the way.
It's cool. AI did a good job on us. What are you going with?
I'll go with DePaul.
DePaul, locking it in?
Yep.
Correct. It is the DePaul Blue Demons. The Blue Demons of DePaul. And Paul did agree with you. Of course, Paul has to get DePaul. With that, and the last one for this week's Leroy's Logos. The last one, which is also a good-looking logo here, too.
I like it.
Do you know this one?
The red makes me want to say Northern Illinois, so that's what I'm going with.
How does this make you feel?
Yeah, I mean it could be, but I'm sticking with my Illinois theme that I think you're on today, and I'll go with NIU.
You mean my Illinois theme that also includes Xavier?
Yep.
Yep.
Have you ever been to a Xavier?
Xavier?
Yeah, have you ever been there?
It's in Cincinnati. And it is correct. Northern Illinois. 3 out of 4. Okay. This wasn't as fun as last week.
Oh, shush. It was fine.
3 out of 4, Leroy, now up to 411. That percentage is way too high. Way too high.
Way too high.
Way too high. Way too high. Paul says nice on that. How about a little play clock where we got 40 seconds to answer a question that the other person knows nothing that is coming? Would you like to ask or answer?
I will ask first.
I'm ready.
Since it's Halloween, I feel this question is appropriate. Who has the scariest nickname / mascot in sports?
Oh, gosh. I mean, if we're talking mascot-wise, have you ever seen Providence's mascot?
No, but let me look it up really quick.
Give it a Google. The Providence Friars mascot. It is... I mean, it's... Have you looking at it? You looking at it right now?
What is that?
Yeah.
That's a friar, but
it's a little freaky. Is
like
it not?
A friar with a sheet.
Yeah, it's a little freaky, or even maybe just go Richmond Spiders, just because I'm not a huge spider guy. But yeah, I'll say the Providence Friars mascot because it is just a little freaky. There's no question about that. The Providence Friars. It's a little freaky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Gritty. Leroy, I may have asked you this before, but I think it's been a while if I have. What's the best ice cream flavor?
I'm going to sound really dorky with my answer, and I'm fully prepared to get yelled at and called a dork for it, but Neapolitan's fantastic. Strawberry, vanilla, chocolate all in one. You can't go wrong with it. You got to make sure you get all 3 in one. That's fantastic. But so I'm going to go with Neapolitan, but there's some other really, really good options as well. Cookie dough is really, really good. And Paul hits the nail on the head. If I had just a whole thing of strawberry ice cream for the rest of my life, I'd be a happy man. I'd be content.
Basic. Butter pecan.
Yeah.
Butter
that
pecan.
Feels like a very Kentucky ice cream.
See, I feel like it's more British, maybe. I don't know. I feel like it's a British ice cream. Okay, I'm ready.
What is the best Halloween candy? What is the best Halloween candy?
We had this discussion on our morning show earlier this week, late last week or something. And I mean, I was thinking about it. Like, Leroy, I cannot tell you the last time I had a piece. Well, I can tell you the last time I had a piece of candy, but before that, I couldn't tell you. Like, I just never eat candy.
You're so impossible to ask because you don't do anything. You don't watch movies. You don't play video games.
No, I don't.
You don't do.
I do play college football. I mean, I like Snickers. I like Three Musketeers. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is good, but it is just so rare that I actually eat a piece of candy. So that's one of the reasons I don't want to buy Halloween candy, because if I don't have enough, I'm not going to eat it, and it's just going to sit there.
No, you put it in the jar at work. It'll disappear in about 10 minutes. Oh, wait, you work at home. That doesn't work.
I was going to say, here's my work.
I forgot. I'm the only person that's still working in an office in 2024.
You need some WD-40 in that chair, too.
Oh, that's my drum stool. You mean these, John?
What? Are those like berry Skittles?
Wild berry, strawberry, melonberry, raspberry, wild cherry, and berry punch. Oh, y'all just went everywhere. And yes, it's my drum stool, and yes, it does need WD-40 on it.
What is the best board game?
Have you ever played Axis and Allies? That's a fantastic game, but it takes like weeks. I'll go with Risk. I think Risk is a great game. You know, take all of Australia, build up, and then just take over Asia. But You can't go wrong with a thing like Monopoly or old school.
Looking like a true military man.
Yeah, I know. Or old school, not the new life, because the new life isn't fun, but the old game of life, because I'm old as dirt. The old game of life was fantastic. But
the new life isn't good. Old life was always better.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Risk as my final answer.
Risk. I like Risk. So my friend in high school, on his tablet, he had a Risk app. And it was funny because every day in our chemistry class, we wouldn't pay attention because we'd be passing his tablet around playing Risk. Finally, it was probably like March before our teacher caught on. She's like, "What are you all doing?" Nothing.
When we were in school, there was one graphing. They handed out graphing. I don't know how they do it now. But like we had graphing calculators that got handed out to us at the beginning of class. Yes. 2 of the graphing calculators had Super Mario Brothers on it.
So this has a game on it. I'm going to try and pull it up while you're talking.
But 2 of the graphing calculators had Super Mario Brothers on it. And it was always one of those things where you got it and you were desperately pressing the inputs trying to figure out if everyone knew what the code was to get in. You were desperately hoping that yours was the one that had access to Super Mario Brothers, and then you were set for the rest of the class.
So this has this game called Block Dude. Oh, as I proceed to almost knock my... So I don't know if it'll be able to pop up. So yeah, you can see it.
I see it. Yeah, level 1.
So like you have to... I got to remember how to play now. And I'm also playing without actually seeing. So you like have to move him to... So you got to like pick up the block here.
Yeah.
And you got to move him here. I'm playing in the mirror, so it's really hard for me to.
This needs to be a whole podcast.
Yeah, right. Of me
playing this game backwards on a mirror.
Yeah, but yeah. So and that was always the fun game with this. Okay, now go away. Turn off.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay. It's time for the return of drivers.
We have drivers today, and I already told Sam, if you are just joining us, Sam is not going to like today's drivers, and I'll tell you why. I will tell you right now that whoever you pick third, you'll automatically get, because there's one of each. There's one of each today. All right. Each one of these guys were the very first winners of NASCAR, IndyCar, and F1. So all 3 of these guys were the very, very first.
Give me the NASCAR one first.
No.
Worth a shot.
Not how this works. All right, let's see if I can get this right here. Again, this is a test run. It's a new computer, so we are trying this out and seeing if we can get this. But I have confidence that we will be able to do this. Let me know if you can see this, Sam.
I see a very old man. That looks like he won the Kentucky Derby.
All right, good. You can see him. Okay.
I'm going to say the Kentucky Derby. Horse racing.
Horse racing is your final answer?
I'll say... You know what? I'll say NASCAR.
Final answer?
Yeah, let's do it.
No, that is F1. That is F1. He is... Hold on, I'll get you the name. Oh, my gosh. Maybe. That is Giuseppe Nino Farina, and he won the F1 championship in 1950.
That is not a real person.
All right, up next. Maybe. Oh, shut it.
Oh, my.
That's Herbert Hoover, president. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to say Indy.
Final answer?
Sure.
Absolutely. And then, which of course means... There is our.
Is that Arnold?
His name is Red. Hold
He
on.
doesn't he look like Arnold?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Interesting.
That's Red. Hold on. I'll get you that
Auerbach?
name as well. Red Byron. So the
Red?
IndyCar driver was Barney Oldfield. He won in 1905, and Red Byron won in 1948.
Interesting.
So there is our heroes of the sport.
Red
And
Byron.
Listen. We joke a lot about, racing and things like that. These guys were, I'm telling you, all three of those guys were absolute beasts when it came to racing. So Red Byron lost his leg during World War II in an aviation accident in Alaska. So he had a special device affixed to his leg that he would use that would help push the gas. So he would use like the stump of his leg to push down with his leg the part to make the car go, to make the gas go in the car. And so his car is in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It still has that like attachment to the accelerator that he would have stuck his foot in. But those guys were insane. I mean, hardly they used to not wear seatbelts because the thought process was if they got into an accident, they would get thrown from the car and they wouldn't get caught in the fire or something like that.
I hated. We didn't have enough time when we were in Charlotte a couple of weeks ago. I would have liked to have gone to the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, the car's in Charlotte.
Yeah, I've wanted to.
Really,
I wanted to go.
It can be kind of dorky, but I really like going down those dark rabbit holes of like the very first Indy 500s, or the very first the guys that broke 100 miles an hour for the very first time, and just how crazy that was. Like the media just absolutely broke 100 miles, and how crazy that would have been for its time to break 100 miles an hour. Just really, really cool stories from guys that were absolute zero IDGAFs, just awesome guys.
Time for our pick contest here for the week.
Yeah.
America is picking the Taylorville game, so we'll get to that in a second. But Leroy, you get to pick. This is a tough one for you. The 8-2 Grayson County, let's try that again. The 7-2 Grayson County Cougars host the 8-1 Hancock County Hornets in what is regarded as one of the best games in the state of Kentucky on Friday night. So the 8-1 Hancock County Hornets travel to face the Cougs in Litchfield, who are 7-2. So America, you don't get to pick this game. This is just Leroy. This is probably, Leroy, I will tell you, a true 50-50 game. A true 50-50 game. Are you going with the Cougs or the Hornets?
I will go with the Hornets off a last second field goal.
Be the first time they've attempted a field goal in 6 years. So good for you. I think that's correct.
Good job, Leroy.
Okay. Good job.
You're welcome, Sam. You're welcome.
Okay, Paul's taking the home team. Not that America could pick that. The Taylorville game, Leroy, set it up.
Yeah, so Taylorville got into the playoffs, barely, but they did get into the playoffs thanks to that forfeit win that they had. Their treat, they get to go play 8-1 Waterloo down about an hour. It's about 35 minutes south of St. Louis, so about a 2.5-hour car ride from where we are, and that is Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Weather's not great. Weather's about a 30 to 40% chance of rain, especially after 1 o'clock, which is when the game's supposed to be, which is ironic because Taylorville's last year when they went to the playoffs was also in the pouring rain. But a big game for them. They're 5-4 against Waterloo. I'll give you another hint. Not that it helps, but both teams played a team called Columbia, and both teams won by the same exact score, 35-14.
I'm taking Waterloo. America, you get to make the pick on this one as well. What's Waterloo's nickname?
The Bulldogs.
I was hoping they'd be like the Wizards or something. Okay, Taylorville picks. John picks Taylorville. Paul picks Waterloo. So we've said in the past that if we both pick the team, there's Justin's picking Waterloo. He's going to come in there. So Waterloo is going to be the pick here in this game for Taylorville. I like it. So good. We don't have to go to like a coin flip or something on that game. All righty. Kentucky. Leroy travels to Tennessee. Kentucky travels to Christie came in at the last second, picks Taylorville to tie it up.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. So that means we have to go to a coin flip, Leroy. At the last second, she comes
Christie
in.
never picks Taylorville ever.
Wow. Okay. So what? Who's heads and who's tails, Leroy?
So Waterloo's the home team, so they're heads.
Okay. So Waterloo is heads. We'll ask her to flip the coin. Alexa, flip a coin.
Okay.
I like that. I can hear it now.
Tails.
Tails for Taylorville. Oh my! America going with a stunner. America's going with a stunner.
That would be the biggest win in program history.
America going with the stunner. Okay, Kentucky at Tennessee. Leroy, I'm picking Tennessee.
Tennessee, man, come on.
Yeah.
We say down low, rocket top, down on Tennessee.
I will draw the absolute line there on that. You will absolutely be muted when you play that. You're going to get about 30 seconds in the timeout for that song. John's picking Kentucky. Paul's picking Tennessee, which would be an interesting one. Have you learned your lesson? That is such an awful song. So we have a tie right now between Tennessee and Kentucky. America, who are you going with between Kentucky and Tennessee? And while that moves along, Northwestern travels to Purdue in, I think College Game Day is going to be there. Okay, Christie's going with Tennessee, so Tennessee is the pick, right?
The number 122 offense versus the number 125 offense. It'll be an absolute barn burner in Purdue, man.
God, I have no idea who I want to pick in this game. I'm going to take Northwestern.
So will I.
Alrighty, Northwestern at Purdue is this game here that we're having to pick. Northwestern takes Leroy.
This game, Paul.
Purdue is? Or Tennessee. Oh, yeah. I was like, Purdue's wearing black? Don't they always wear black? Because that's like, John's picking Purdue, or he's actually picking Purdue. Anyone other than Northwestern, says Paul. Which, in his defense, is not like it's that awful of a pick this year. Did they make the right decision keeping that coach?
He's okay. He's okay. He hasn't. I'll tell you. He hasn't had as many questionable calls as Eberflus has. I'll tell you
there
that.
There it is. Right, I was waiting for it. Justin saying Purdue. So Purdue is America's pick for this week. Leroy, no Western game since they are just wrapped up. They beat Kennesaw State, so we all got the point on that. Bengals host the Raiders. 1:00 on Sunday. Leroy, who you got?
Bengals.
I hope so. Take the Bengals, please. Please. 0-4 at home, Leroy. I just want to walk out of Paycor Stadium on Sunday and be happy. Okay? I need a win. I need to feel happy after that. So I am taking the Bengals as well. John is picking the Bengals. Let's see what else America goes with.
Disaster.
Do not start Zach Moss, Paul. Do not start Zach Moss. I will tell you that right now. Do not start Zach Moss. Bengals is America's pick for this week. The Bears travel to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. That was your first mistake, Paul. I'd have told you not to draft, or if you drafted one, to draft Chase Brown. I'm going to take the Cardinals.
I think, and we can joke about this as much as you want to. This is that whole Hail Mary is going to either doom their season the rest of the way, or it's going to wake them up. And you can sleep on the recliner tonight. That's where you can sleep.
Let's be real. Let's be real. If anybody's sleeping on the recliner, it's you.
I know. But again, between us and these 8 listeners that are on our show right now, this will either be like that Hail Mary will either be the end of their season, or or this will wake up the Bears and revitalize them, and they'll come out and they'll score 45 points. So with that being said, I'll go with the Bears.
Leroy's taking the Bears. America is with the Cardinals. I'm not even putting that comment on the screen.
Oh, we know you are.
Not even putting that comment on the screen, Christy. Okay, I am in the lead in the points, so I get to pick my first game of the week, Leroy. And you know that there's nothing I enjoy more than we've got to get obscure, right? And go a little wild with it. So we're going to take Ohio State traveling to Penn State.
Oh, that's my... That's not obscure. Hey, what obscure is that?
It's the Big Ten. It can't be that. I mean, Ohio State at Penn State, Leroy. Who wins?
Where's that game at?
Ohio State at Penn State.
If I remember right, this is an afternoon game, and all the Penn State fans were ticked because they wanted a whiteout.
It's a noon game.
They can't have it because it's not at night. I'll go with can they both lose?
Not possible for a tie, Paul. It's not possible for a tie in college football. John's taking Penn State.
Yeah. I'll go
Paul's
with the
taking
Lions. I'll go with the Lions.
Leroy's taking Penn State. I am taking Ohio State. So we've got 1 vote Penn State, 1 vote Ohio State. And if somebody wants to break the tie in the comment section, they can. Justin is taking Penn State. So it looks like Penn State is America's pick for this game. Leroy, what's your game of the week? Your first one.
You took one of mine. So I will go with the best division in all of football right now. The Green Bay Packers taking on the Detroit Lions.
Green Bay and Detroit. The game is at Lambeau.
Yes, but Detroit has won 4 out of the last 5 meetings.
Lions at Packers. I'm going to take the Packers since it's at Lambeau.
I'm going to take the Lions because Love is questionable for the game, and I'm hoping that he steps on a marble and never plays football again.
Wow. Little harsh.
Is it?
Yeah. Just a little bit harsh. Man.
Paul's right, though. Paul is right. Goff is horrible away from Ford Field.
Lions is America's pick, though, in that game. And Leroy, we're going to have to go with something obscure here, because what fun is it if we don't have at least
You're going to go Oklahoma, Maine?
That is a little wild with this here. So, do I go to Fresno State again? We've had a lot of fun picking them these last couple of weeks.
Stop with the Fresno State.
Coastal Carolina travels to Troy. Coastal Carolina at Troy. Leroy, who you got?
Troy.
Can you name both of their nicknames?
No.
Can you name either nickname?
Isn't Coastal Carolina the aren't they the green, the teal?
They are. I'm taking them, Coastal Carolina.
They're the it's a type of chicken.
Yep, you are right. The Chanticleers.
That's it. Thank you.
The Chanticleers. Okay. That's a good one.
What's Troy? Are they the Trojans?
Yeah, you're right. The condoms. So you are taking Troy. Right now we got 1 pick for Troy in the comment section. What's the rest of the comment section say for Coastal Carolina at Troy? We'll do that. And Leroy, what is your final game of the week?
Number 18, Pittsburgh heads out to take on Southern Methodist in Dallas, Texas.
Troy is America's pick as well. We can say that. It is unanimous in the comment section. I'm the lone wolf going with Coastal Carolina. I got a big lead, though, so I can do that. What did you say it was? What did you say it was?
Number 18, Pittsburgh heads to Dallas, Texas to take on number 20, SMU.
SMU and Pittsburgh. Oh, okay. I'm going to take, I can't pick Pittsburgh. I'm taking SMU. Okay, we got 1 vote Pittsburgh, 1 vote SMU. Justin going with Pittsburgh. So it looks like Pittsburgh is America's pick. Who do you have, Leroy?
I'll go with SMU because the game's in Texas.
SMU, says Leroy. Okay, those are our picks of the week. We ripped through them. Leroy's picking Hancock County to beat the Cougs. I'm picking Waterloo to beat Taylorville. America's going with Taylorville. They want the season to continue for the Tornadoes. Everyone's going with Tennessee. Leroy and I are going with Northwestern. America's with Purdue. We're all with the Bengals. Myself and America, we are with the Cardinals over the Bears. I'm the lone wolf with Ohio State, Coastal Carolina, and the Packers. So this could be a big week for me if I can do that. I'm the lone wolf on all of those. And then America is the lone wolf for Pittsburgh in that one. Leroy, I know you're not calling the game on Friday night or on Saturday. Well, I know you're not calling it on Friday night because there is no game on Friday night, but you're not.
I am calling a
Saturday.
soccer game on Friday. Most likely, I'm calling a soccer game on Friday night.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but we'll look forward to next week's show. Hope your kids have a good Halloween. Stay safe. Say trick or treat. Please and
I
thank
have to
you.
pull the dad tax and get one out of every 5 pieces of candy.
Okay, Paul is doing a fantasy. So I have a big fantasy game. I'm playing Mick.
Dodgers just took the lead.
Did they really? Oh, mine still says 6-6 here in the 8th. Interesting. Paul says this is fantasy question of the week. We'll see what it is. And that'll be our last thing for the show. We're waiting, Paul. Which side? Josh Jacobs, Tank Dell, DeMar Mooney for Achane, Smith, and Jamison Williams. Oh, gosh. Paul,
somebody else just did a weird one on this. Hold on.
I'm gonna be honest with you too, Paul. I am awful at fantasy trades. I never trade because I'm awful at doing value. And I mean, the biggest question is Jamison Williams. Is he? What's he going to be? You know, he's suspended 2 games right now, and then he has the legal case as well, which it doesn't sound like he's going to have a suspension based on that. To me, that's kind of a toss-up. It's not PPR, which takes away Achane. I mean, I'd probably go with the first, just because Achane on PPR would be a lot stronger. But that's just me. Yep, 7-6 Dodgers, top of the 8th. Interesting. You're busy tapping away.
Yeah, I'm trying to find somebody else in one of the leagues that I'm in just did a very, very similar trade, and my computer's being absolutely stupid. I'll post it later on unless I can pull it up here, but somebody else just did because they did it. The guy that did the trade is like my rival, and yeah, it's not letting me look at it, and I don't know where my phone is. But yeah, somebody else just did almost exactly identical trade. I'll post it later, Paul, for you to see. But very, very similar trade.
Look forward to it. Leroy, have a good soccer call. Have a good racing weekend, and we'll talk next week.
Sounds good, my brother.
Have a good night, everyone. Have a safe Halloween. Did you want to answer which side you're for on this too before we wrap it up?
The Smith-Williams side.
Okay. So we're different, Paul. Sorry about that. But hey, we're different on a lot of things. Oh, we forgot to ask the most important question, Leroy. Who are you voting for, right? No, I'm kidding. Have a good night.
Thank you.